Hey, listen. Have you noticed how unsettling silence can be? How heavy it feels when someone who was always there just disappears? Well, that's how it is. Right now, as you read this, someone is missing you. Maybe this person won't say anything. Maybe they won't even show it. But deep down, your absence is screaming in their mind, because that's how it works. When you stop reaching out, when you pull away, the other person starts to notice. They start to remember, they start to feel the void you left behind. And you know what's worse? This person has probably picked up their phone a few times, thought about calling you, but then backed out. Pride, fear, shame, it could be all of that mixed together. But the longing is still there, strong. Now I ask you, are you still waiting for that message, or have you realized that your silence speaks louder than any words? Your silence is unsettling, and that's a good thing. Do you know what happens when you stop chasing after someone? When you decide to step away and leave the other person alone on the stage, silence becomes a mirror that reflects everything that was previously ignored. The absence starts slowly. At first it's just a discomfort, a fleeting thought. Then it turns into longing. Before long it's filled with doubt and regret. Then comes the desperation. What if it's too late? And you need to understand one thing. Silence isn't empty. It's loaded with meaning. If you've distanced yourself, there was a reason. Either this person didn't value you as you deserved, or they made you feel unimportant. Maybe they treated you as if your presence was guaranteed, as if you were there out of obligation. But now, without you, reality hits hard. Suddenly, that good morning message you always sent is missed. That way of caring, of listening, of being present can't be found in just anyone. And that makes a difference. But does it make a difference enough to make this person act? The fear of being forgotten. Do you know what one of the greatest fears of humanity is? Being forgotten. People want to be remembered, they want to feel that they matter. But ironically, they only realize the value of others when those others are no longer around. So let me ask you, why should you always be available for someone who only misses you when they realize they might lose you? Silence hurts those who didn't know how to appreciate presence. If that person hasn't reached out to you yet, it's not because they don't miss you. It's because they're battling their own pride, trying to pretend they don't care. But deep down, their mind doesn't rest. Memories come in flashes. A good moment here, a memorable conversation there, a detail that once seemed small, but has now grown enormous. And you know what's worse? The fear that you'll move on. Because as long as you're still there in the same place, the longing is uncomfortable but manageable. But if that person feels like you've truly turned the page, that your absence has become permanent, despair kicks in. But are you still willing to wait? Your silence is worth more than any explanation. Many times we feel the need to talk, to explain, to make the other understand what they did, how they hurt us, how they made us feel small. But you know what? Silence does that job better than any word could, because when you stop talking, the other person is forced to listen to their own conscience. And believe me, it's much more cruel than anything you could say. So if you feel that your absence is being noticed, don't rush to fill that void. Let it exist, let that person feel. Let the longing become uncomfortable, let their mind fill with questions, let the memories become heavy, because only then will they understand. Only then will they realize that your presence was never a guarantee, but rather a privilege. What if that person truly misses you, if they really recognize your worth? They will come after you. If they don't, then it's clear, you never meant as much to them as you thought. And in that case, why waste time waiting? The tables have turned. And now? Maybe you spent too much time waiting for a sign, an action, proof that this person actually cared. Perhaps you lost sleep thinking about what you did wrong, what could have been different. But now the tables have turned. Now it's the other person who misses you. It's the other person who has doubts. It's the other person who is scared. And you? Will you rush back just because this person finally realized what they lost? Or will you let them feel the weight of their own silence? Because at the end of the day, here's the truth. Those who care make an effort. Those who miss you show it. Those who truly care don't wait for time to decide. Now it's up to you. Are you still waiting? Or have you understood that your silence speaks louder than any response? Understand this. Silence is unsettling because it reveals truths that no one wants to face. When you stop messaging, when you decide not to insist anymore, the other person feels it, even if they pretend otherwise, even if they keep posting, smiling, going out, trying to show they're fine. The truth? Deep down, there's an emptiness, a space that was once filled by you. And do you know what happens? First comes the calm, or rather, the illusion of it. The person thinks that moving forward without you will be easy. They believe time will erase the presence that was once so strong. But time doesn't erase, it clarifies. Every moment you're absent is a reminder. Each day that goes by without your message, without your voice, without your gaze adds weight. And that's when the real discomfort begins. The questions, the uncertainties, the flashes of moments that will never come back. Now let me ask you, do you think this person doesn't think about you, that they don't miss you? Because if you were important at any moment, if you made a difference, that absence is being felt. It's just that not everyone has the courage to admit it. Not everyone knows how to deal with the reality of having lost someone they shouldn't have lost. And you? Are you still waiting for a sign? Are you still trying to understand if your absence made any impact? Let me tell you something. You don't need confirmation. The silence has already revealed everything you need to know. The moment silence becomes a scream. You know that moment when someone looks at their phone, hoping for a notification that doesn't come. That quick glance at social media to see if there's any sign from you. It's at that moment that the silence begins to weigh heavily. The first impact is light. It comes disguised as a random thought. Wow, so-and-so has disappeared. But the frequency of that thought increases. It becomes an annoyance, a strange sensation in the middle of the day, until suddenly, absence turns into longing. And longing has a cruel effect. It forces the memory of details, that inside joke, that unique way you had. The care, the patience, the presence that's now just an empty space. But will this person have the courage to admit it? Will they give in? Or will they continue pretending nothing happened? What matters isn't whether the message will be sent, whether the attempt to reach out will happen. What matters is that your absence is already being felt. That alone answers a lot. And if you feel like this message is speaking directly to you, tell me, are you still waiting for this person? Or have you already understood that your silence is the answer? What comes after absence? After longing settles in, there are two possibilities. Either the person comes back, or they learn to live without you. But the real question is, what about you? What do you want? What? Because often we get caught up in the expectation of an apology, of some recognition, of someone reaching out. But what if that person never has the courage to admit they miss you? Are you going to hold on to that? Are you going to keep waiting? Here's the truth that no one likes to hear. Sometimes the longing exists, but it's not enough to bring someone back. Pride might be stronger. Fear might be greater. Cowardice might weigh more. And if that's the case, you need to understand that your absence still had an impact. It was still felt. The silence still echoed. Now, think carefully. Do you want to be remembered as someone who was missed, or as someone who stayed stuck waiting? If this message resonates with you, tell me, if that person came back today, would you still open the door? Now pause and think. If that person's name appeared on your phone, if that notification sound brought an unexpected message, would you answer? Would you respond? Because it's easy to feel nostalgia. What's tough is coming back and facing what's been broken. It's hard to admit mistakes, to recognize that you didn't value it, that you only realized its importance when it was too late. And maybe, just maybe, that person never learned how to deal with their own pride. So before you wait for that message, before you get stuck on that possibility, ask yourself a sincere question. Does that person deserve to come back? Because you are not a consolation prize. You are not the choice someone makes after all their other options have failed. You are not a plan B for when loneliness creeps in. If someone misses you, if someone realizes that you are irreplaceable, it needs to come with action, not with half-hearted words, not with empty regrets. And if that person shows up, if they try to reopen a door that's been shut for so long, you need to decide, is it worth it? Or has silence already taught you everything you needed to know? When longing is not enough, do you know what's curious? Sometimes a person misses you, but that doesn't mean they're going to change. They might remember you, they might even wish to have you back, but did they really understand what made them lose you? Or is it just the momentary emptiness speaking louder? There are people who feel nostalgia, but don't know how to love. There are those who want you close but won't offer you what you deserve, and there lies the trap. If you accept any crumbs, you're saying that everything you went through was for nothing. And you didn't go through all that just to accept the bare minimum in the end. So if this person reaches out to you, if they come with sweet words and nostalgia, pay more attention than you listen. Words are easy. Actions reveal the truth. And if nothing changes, if you realize that their absence was felt but didn't bring growth, you have your answer. Silence is not just absence. It is also protection. Your absence must have a purpose. It's no use disappearing, hoping to be noticed. It's pointless to stay silent, waiting to be sought after. Your absence needs to have a purpose, to demand respect. Because if you need to disappear for someone to appreciate your presence, maybe that person never deserved you. Perhaps you gave more than you should have, insisted more than was fair, and hoped for more than they could offer. Now it's time to change the question. Why do you still want to be remembered by someone who couldn't hold on to you? The longing that person feels is their problem, not yours. The confusion, the doubt, the regret, all of that belongs to them. You've done your part. You've tried. Now it's about you, not about them. So instead of waiting for the message, instead of wondering if they felt your absence, look ahead. If someone couldn't appreciate you, another person will. But first you need to learn to value yourself. And now tell me, will you keep waiting, or have you realized that your absence was the answer? You already understand that your absence was felt. You've realized that the silence echoed much louder than any word could. But the question that still lingers is, what are you going to do about it? Because knowing that someone misses you doesn't mean you should come back. It doesn't mean everything can go back to the way it was. Longing is not enough. Time can heal wounds, but it can also leave scars that never fade. And maybe that person, who is now troubled by your absence, is just seeking comfort. Maybe they haven't changed. Perhaps they just miss what you provided, what you offered, what you did without expecting anything in return. But what about you? What did that person offer you? What did they really give you, aside from memories and a delayed sense of longing? Time passes. Silence teaches. But it's you who decides the next step. Do you want to continue being an option? Or have you realized that you deserve to be a priority? When a person finally realizes they've lost you, there comes a moment when the realization hits. At first, the person distracts themselves, pretends to be okay, tries to ignore the discomfort of your absence. But one day, inevitably, they notice. Maybe it's seeing something that reminds them of you, a song, a scent, a place. Maybe it's realizing that no one else cares the way you did. Perhaps it's coming to the conclusion that other people are too superficial, too cold, too transient. And then comes the weight. The certainty that you were not just anyone, that your presence was unique, your energy was different, your care was rare, but now it might be too late. Because while that person took their time to see it, you changed. You grew, you learned, you became stronger. You understood that you don't need to beg to be valued. And that is the truth that few have the courage to face. Those who learn to live without someone no longer need that person in the same way. So tell me, if this person realizes too late, will you still be there? Or will you let their regret be just another lesson? Silence is not punishment, it's a boundary. Many people think that distancing yourself is a strategy, a game to get attention. But it's not. Silence is not punishment, it's a boundary. It's you saying, I won't subject myself to what hurts me. It's you making it clear, I respect myself more than any longing I might feel. Because if someone only recognizes your worth when you disappear, it means they never truly saw you while you were present. And that says a lot more about them than it does about you. If your absence made this person reflect, great. If it made them realize you were important, even better. But if all of this isn't accompanied by real change and concrete action, then none of it means anything. Don't be fooled by messages that come too late. Don't cling to empty regrets. What you've built within yourself during this time of silence is more valuable than any words that person might say now. And if someone truly wants to come back into your life, they'd better come back changed. They should come back aware. They should come back knowing that now you won't accept anything less than you deserve. Now tell me, if this person knocks on your door, will you open it? Or have you learned that some doors need to stay closed? If this person comes back, will you accept them? Or have you already understood your value? Comment, leave a like and subscribe.